Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Thomas. Today we're back here with, well, how to beat an anime. Been a while. Anyway, we are here with how to beat the killer ghost in the Dark Gathering. So, yeah, killer ghosts, aka poltergeists. I think. Aren't the ghosts that kill people poltergeists? At least that's what I remember. So, anywho, let's see how we deal with these ghosts and see if there's a trick to them. Well, let's check it out. Let's see what Dark Gathering has to offer. Be sure to like, subscribe for more. Hope you enjoy. Here we go.
If you had to fight over 10,000 demonic ghosts, what would you do? You've been cursed to forever attract killers from the spirit world, and the only way to be saved will be to team up, go on countless spirit hunting missions, and slaughter them all. I'm going to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the army of killer ghosts in Dark Gathering. This kid will be forced to battle spirits and bloodthirsty gods within the next 2 weeks. Keitaro here has been cursed and has spent the last 2 years hiding out from terrifying ghosts out to get him. Finally done being scared, he enters back into the world and wants to get back into society, make friends, and forget about his terrifying problem. He meets up with his childhood friend after so long, and the other person who got cursed alongside him as well, Eiko, but she tells him that he should try to enjoy life despite their difficulties like her, and encourages him to take up a tutoring job to distract him in the meantime. Getting his first student, he shows up to this house, realizing that his first client is Eiko's younger cousin, named Yayoi, and he can tell that she has supernatural powers like him, maybe even more. She casually chokes this plushie toy in front of him, and he realizes that she has trapped a spirit inside of that thing. Sweating, he tries to start her lesson, but she tells him that she knows he's just like her, and tells him that they should go hunt some ghosts instead of study. Wanting to forget his old life, he says no, but she threatens to get him fired from this job if he doesn't listen. Unable to refuse, Yayoi forces him to join her, and Eiko, who is way too chill about this, and they go on their first haunted adventure. Heading to this strange phone booth, Yayoi gives them the rundown of this place. One haunted hostess girl lives there, a thief while she was alive, and she stole all of her clients' money and eventually got brutally murdered by her customers as a result. She now haunts anyone who enters or uses this phone booth, since someone put the phone booth number online for anyone to call. Yayoi realizes that she can't sense any spirit, but suddenly Keitaro gets massive chills. However, he doesn't know why. Yayoi switches to plan B and forces Keitaro to make the phone booth ring by calling its number. Eiko then notices Keitaro's scared face turn into a smile when he calls, but he doesn't realize it. Calling the number, the phone booth then starts ringing, and they hear something inside ask them for help. A bloody face appears on the window and forces the booth door to open. Yayoi instantly uses this moment to throw in a toy doll, and that's when the horror begins. Everyone watches the doll inside blow up, painting the window full of blood. Having seen enough for today, the group then heads back home. There, Keitaro gets back to tutoring Yayoi and notices that she is extremely smart, which means she probably isn't crazy about her love for ghosts either. And she tells him that the ghost they just saw didn't react until Keitaro called it, and wants to know why. And he tells her about his curse, that anywhere haunted he goes to, ghosts usually will show up. Excited at the possibilities, she begs him to take her on more ghost adventures. Hell no, because he wants to move on with his life, and Eiko overhears this and speaks to him privately, telling him that Yayoi recently lost her parents in a car crash, and this is why she wants to go on adventures, to find her missing mother that got taken away by spirits. Before the accident, Yayoi's eyes suddenly got double pupils, which caused her to see other things in her vision. It wasn't until the accident that she realized that her double vision now allowed her to see the spirit world and the human world. Feeling bad, Keitaro agrees to help her, agreeing to go back out for one more ghost adventure the next day. Heading back out, Yayoi hands him a doll and says that this will protect him from any baddies they meet. But Yayoi drags him to the same place as yesterday, but this time with a new plan. Reaching the phone booth, the ghost appears at the window and gives off a horrifying smile, shocking Keitaro as it suddenly drags him in. Okay, while Keitaro might seem really powerful, he's really stupid. I would have taken out this ghost way more quickly by using something like the Mammut 9.5 Craig Dry climbing rope and some good old common sense. Let me explain. Keitaro here can basically sense and feel various forms of energy, which if we think about it are all around us. For example, when your hair stands up on end at certain times. This is just one example of your body reacting in real time to energy radiating around it. This happens since the cells in our bodies are specialized to sense and conduct electrical currents and sources of neutral energy. This, plus if we take into account things like the
Going back to earlier, like the whole, like going for a second round, I think I would have been like, okay, look, you know what? I'm trying to move past this shit, and you're trying to drag me back in. F you, not happening, goodbye. Like, I don't know if I'd go again, considering, like, well, the ghost and we got cursed. Look, if I had to go there, I would have promised, okay, I'll keep doing this, but as soon as we find the ghost that cursed me and my friend Eiko, we're out of here. Got that? I don't know. That's probably what I would have done, but I don't know. I probably wouldn't have jumped on the whole, hey, let's go on some ghosts. I mean, come on. He's trying to move past that, and you're dragging him back into it? Sheesh. Anyway, move along.
Dimension theory, which is the possibility that there are other dimensions out there, like the spirit realm, things that we can't see yet. It means that Yayoi and Keitaro here might actually be able to feel and see sources of energy coming from things that science cannot fully explain yet. However, despite having access to some really cool superpowers, what these guys just did now was really stupid. If I was him, I would have focused on our winning card, Yayoi herself, before signing on to this stupid idea. I would have tested out the limits of her powers first, get to know her, figure out what can she do, as well as her mindset. It's noted that she's doing all of this really scary crap to find her mother, which, while adorable, I will admit, means that she's got an end goal, and we have no way of telling how much she is willing to risk, lose, or give up in order to reach her goal. Since compared to her parents, we're just a stranger that has no value to her, which means teaming up with this psycho is really risky. And the fact that we already saw Ghost for the first time and lived to come back again means that maybe we should rethink this. Even if Yayoi was leading the mission despite being 8 years old, it's better to have improved communication between the team. Being Keitaro means that I would have first taken better safety precautions. I would have come in with some climbing rope and some kind of harness, and then would have tied the other end to either guard railing above the hill here. We know that we attract spirits to wherever we go, and this one is super malicious. Therefore, it's easy to assume that they would try to get us somehow. Has anybody watched a scary ghost movie? You know it's gonna happen. At the end of the day, remember, there's nothing to gain from this ghost adventure. If we had just walked away right now, before we even walked over there, we could have avoided all of this. Trapped, Keitaro begins panicking, but sees footsteps approach him, just as he gets choked. Yayoi then notices that this ghost is overriding the protection spell that she gave Keitaro, making her realize how badly spirits in general want him. Having seen enough, she takes out her weapons and charges in, forcing open the door, and she grabs Keitaro's protection doll and slams it at the phone booth spirit, cutting off the phone and disabling it. She assures Keitaro that she will always protect him, and she traps the evil ghost in a new plushie toy. My, how cute. This causes Keitaro to freak out and wonders what kind of freak Yayoi really is. And later, he gets mad at them for all of the ghost things, but Eiko points out that when he called the phone booth yesterday, he didn't realize that he was smiling, and suggests that he actually secretly likes all of this ghost hunting deep down. But Keitaro doesn't believe her and suspects that while Yayoi is good at this ghost hunting thing, she struggles to find ghosts herself, and this must mean that the ghost world is actually hiding from this little girl. The next day, Keitaro heads to Eiko's place again, thinking today will be a normal day of tutoring.
Do you not trust her?
And wouldn't you know, Yayoi blackmails him again into going into another terrifying adventure. Is this guy an idiot or what? Anyways, Eiko reveals to Keitaro that they're going to his grandma's shrine today, and she tells Yayoi that since Keitaro got cursed, he regularly gets exorcisms done by his grandma to discourage spirits from finding him and to help him reintegrate back into society. Keitaro gets surprised and says that he doesn't have an appointment with her for another few weeks, but Eiko doesn't care. Reaching, Granny greets her beloved Eiko, but can sense that Yayoi can see ghosts too and keeps a watch on her, while Keitaro goes in to get cleansed. Waiting outside, Yayoi is restless, so Eiko shows her a picture of what Keitaro's hand looks like under his glove that he always wears. Seeing all of these nerves, she tells Yayoi that these things are a result of his curse, and regularly gets cut off during his exorcism while they chant Shinto prayers. After the cleanse, Keitaro goes to the bathroom, but runs into another B-level ghost, and Yayoi saves him as usual.
Remember, they're both cursed.
Keitaro begins to feel bad for putting Yayoi through so many dangerous situations, and begins to worry about her safety. Are you serious? She wants these freaking ghosts. Let the ghosts have her, my gosh. Finishing up the exorcism and another ghost defeated, Granny ends up liking Yayoi and gives her a gift. Heading back home, she tells Keitaro that she wants to show him something in her room. Heading up, he finds hundreds of creepy dolls on her shelf, including the phone booth spirit from earlier. And this makes him realize why he always felt a creepy vibe in this house 24/7. Yayoi reveals to him that she keeps the worst of the worst spirits trapped in her room, including the spirit that they captured earlier, because she is planning something big in order to rescue her mother from death. She goes into detail about how spirits actually work. When they possess something, they get trapped in its physical state, and that is how Yayoi traps them, like in these dolls. Keitaro gets a little too freaked out, but Eiko passing by tells him that they're just dolls and he should chill out, making him realize that Eiko can't sense how much evil is truly here. Yayoi reassures him that no matter what happens, she'll keep him safe, and then asks for his fingernails like a creep. The next next day, Keitaro struggles to go back to Eiko's house. He just wants to move on with his life, but he feels like he owes Eiko something for helping him. Entering her house, he prepares to teach another lesson, but Yayoi comes at him, saying she desperately needs his fingernails, and he gets freaked out and prepares to leave, but Eiko tries to lighten the mood, suggesting they go out to another haunted spot with these two different freaks. Anyways, however, this time around, Keitaro stands his ground and refuses leaving the house. Confused, Yayoi tells Eiko they'll go hunt ghosts without him, telling Eiko that she thought Keitaro liked hunting ghosts since he could easily break his curse if he really wanted to. Hearing this, Eiko turns her attention straight to Yayoi, asking what she means, and this makes Yayoi realize that they both never knew about any of this, and then has a realization. She changes their plans and says she knows a place they can go to help Keitaro, since he is now her friend as well, and she directs Eiko on where to go to fix Keitaro's curse. They drive to this abandoned temple to locate another spirit. Yayoi mentions that this place is dedicated to babies that died before they were born, and gives Eiko the rundown of what horror to expect. They're up against dozens of unborn babies that haunt the grounds, and they're all watched over by a spirit known as the Goddess of Children. However, Yayoi says something crazy and tells Eiko that she needs to do this alone, and if she doesn't come back within an hour, Eiko should run to get help. And somehow she agrees like an idiot to Yayoi's crazy plan and leaves this little child that thinks she knows everything alone at this spooky abandoned temple. Like an idiot, she's so freaking stupid. She heads in, and Yayoi senses that there is more evil in here than she thought, just as she gets surrounded by countless dead babies and the goddess herself. Trying to take out this spirit, this umbilical cord shoots at her, forcing her to get back up, and she almost gets crushed by this giant statue, getting seriously injured and runs for her life. She hides out in the forest and takes out some ghost hunting equipment, these paper dolls. Adding a piece of her hair to them, she creates spiritual decoys of herself that also, fun fact, grant her extra lives. My, how convenient. And that's when this evil undead baby shows up. Meanwhile, Eiko waits outside, but then realizes that it's been over an hour and rushes off to find Keitaro for help. Spotting him in like 5 anime seconds in this supermarket, she tells him Yayoi is in trouble, and he wonders how she found him so easily because he's a little suspicious. But Eiko says, not important, and says Yayoi was trying to fix his curse since she could tell it was bothering him. Hating ghosts but feeling guilty, he agrees to go help Yayoi. Back to Yayoi. She just finishes trapping a baby ghost into one of her dolls and threatens the rest about to kill her that if they touch her, she'll kill her hostage, giving her a split second to run for her life, and places more paper dolls behind her to act as decoys. She gains some distance and hides back at the ghost shrine she passed through earlier. Getting slowly surrounded, she sees the ghost army suddenly head in the opposite direction. Nearby, Keitaro finally arrives, and he quickly bumps into the terrifying ghost army and runs for his life. Reaching the shrine, he hears Yayoi calling out and quickly lures the baby ghost around the shrine while he comes up with a really half-assed plan. I would have gotten rid of this spirit way better than Keitaro here, just saying, by using the art of respect and by kidnapping real-life babies. Let me explain. At this point, we know the dangers of dealing with spirits, and Yayoi and Eiko especially have done this 1,000 times as we can tell, and this is why it makes no sense why Yayoi didn't leave a detailed list of the ghosts they were going up against with Eiko before going in fully, since she clearly knew what this ghost was before going in. For a little 8-year-old girl who's obsessed with hunting ghosts, she's not that good at it. One of the main rules of hunting ghosts, even in real life, is treating spirits with respect, because the ball is always in their court. And this form of common sense even applies to general combat. Respecting the enemy means that we will take on more precautions and plan even more carefully, and expect the enemy to be at least equal to us in threat, if not even more, which clearly Yayoi was not doing, because so far she's been acting exactly like how a little girl would, surprise surprise, by running around going into haunted places without a care in the world, and she didn't even bring any haunted tools. The spirit here is known in real life as the protector of the helpless, and while Yayoi might not have known that this good spirit turned evil, it's noted that this spirit once watched over dead babies, so isn't it logical to assume that if we stopped by some neighbor's house and said, hey, can we borrow the kid real quick? No? Oh, too bad. Okay, well, maybe we knock him out and then take the kid anyways. Maybe we can use the live screaming baby to distract or lure the good spirit away from Yayoi. Just saying, it could work. Running around the shrine, Keitaro circles back, and Yayoi knocks over this statue, grabbing this piece of the spirit, and she quickly goes to meet Keitaro's hand reaching out, pulling her in while they get out of the area, into Eiko's car, and finally, somehow, escape. Later, Keitaro tells Yayoi he knows she risked his life for him, and he thanks her, and she tells him that he's become her new good friend, and unlike her family, she is now strong enough to protect everyone. She then takes him to her room and reveals why she needed his fingernails. She needed them in order to make the possessed dolls work, and she's put a piece of her physical body inside each doll. In doing this, it redirects any attack from coming to her onto her dolls, including any attacks any doll in here tries to do to her, making her safe from harm and these dolls her full-on servants. And this is what keeps her and Eiko safe 24/7, and she wanted to do the same thing for Keitaro. She throws the finger of the spirit she collected earlier into her room and tells her spirits in here that this finger is the one that tried to hurt her, and as a result hurt the spirits in here. Pissed off at this finger, they want to harm it, and Yayoi then tells them that it doesn't have a piece of her inside it, which means they can take revenge on this spirit without getting hurt themselves. And Keitaro looks in horror at what's going on. Only a fraction of its strength here. The spirit inside the finger realizes it's screwed. Yayoi then makes this finger spirit beg her to become her servant in order to be protected from harm from the rest of these angry spirits. But Keitaro interrupts and finally asks a big question. Why is she keeping so many spirits in these dolls? And she reveals her game plan. Oh good. She is building an army of spirits that will serve her in order to find and fight the spirit that took her mother. Oh, that's gonna work out great. She says she was unable to bring the whole spirit back from the shrine today. Only a finger. But she promises Keitaro that when she heals up, she'll go back there again and capture the whole thing. So then they can fully remove his curse. And he thanks her, and to compensate her, he offers to help her dive deeper, oh that's great, into the ghost adventures unofficially, while he continues to try and reintegrate back into society. Wow, that's gonna work out great. A few days later, Keitaro starts his first day of college with two important goals. One, to handle his supernatural powers better, and two, to finally make some new friends like a normal person. And he heads to his first freshman welcome party, full of other students like him, wearing clothes Eiko picked out for him, including this pair of hip glasses that secretly keep watch over him. He very quickly sucks at making friends, but he meets this nice guy who tells him his name is Nagayama, president of some random club, not important, and asks Keitaro to join them for some more drinks back at their apartment. Watching him, Yayoi hears something in the audio saying the words die, and thinks something evil is hiding within this party. After the event, Keitaro meets up with Nagayama and gets in his car full of other students from his club. They give him some water to sober up and tell him their place is over a complex T building, but suddenly Keitaro feels a cold, supernatural chill. He tells these guys about it and thinks he's just being silly, but Nagayama tells him he's into ghost stuff too, and tells him a scary story about their college. There's this secret, unalive club at school where a group of students pretend to be a normal club, but secretly recruit members during the welcome party to join them in kicking buckets, you can say. Each year, the name of the club gets changed because, well, all the members die each time, and the police never know who the new ringleader running the club is, unless they notice the one name that appears each year on the welcome party guest list, continuing the club's legacy. And the name is Nagayama. Keitaro finally sees the evil spirit possessing him and realizes that he is the ringleader, and that's when he gets super sleepy because he's been drugged and passes out. Meanwhile, the girls watching him through their spy gear, my how helpful of them, quickly stop creeping to go rescue him. Meanwhile, heading there, Yayoi researches the apartment Keitaro went to and finds out 133 deaths have taken place there over the last few years, and suspect that a train station connecting to the school and this apartment is how the spirit possessed a passing by student before corrupting others to join them. Yayoi wonders what this spirit is achieving by leading people to their death, and thinks something is up just as they reach the apartment. Okay, well, Keitaro is so screwed. I'm glad I'm not him. But anyways, I would have fixed all of this by not focusing on saving Keitaro and rely on this building's already known reputation. Look, this situation seems unreal. This event is actually directly based on a real-life event in history known as the Takashi Madara House Complex, which was a large area of buildings that were built in the 1970s that soon became known around Japan as the place to go to if you wanted to, well, kick a bucket, if you know what I mean. It got so bad at one point in the 1980s, around one person jumped every 65 hours, equaling to 133 total people in that year alone. The craziest part about this building was that most of the deaths committed here didn't come from the people living there, but came from tourists traveling from other parts of Japan, all wanting to just reach this building. Back in the 70s and 80s, there weren't many high-rise buildings, and this building was easier to sneak into than other commercial office towers. And also, building codes at the time didn't have any preventative measures like fences on rooftops. And once word broke out about this building and what it could help certain people do, it became the country's go-to place for this type of thing. But the real enemies in this case is the school Keitaro goes to. It's noted that each year a new person creates the same club as the previous year, so the cops never know who the new student mastermind is. But even then, at this point, these murders of students would have classified this as an epidemic, which means that the school and police should have noticed each year they saw a new student show up the exact same name. This building at this point in time would have been on police and the school's radar, and means that the school by now would have likely wanted to prevent another disaster from ruining its reputation. In general, school safety is a very high concern in most countries due to the concentration of vulnerable youths, which is why such systems like the blue light system are common within these areas to offer students much more ways to call for help. By us calling the cops for help, or fire department or something, saying there was a fire or shooting at a housing complex, it would have meant that the first responders would have likely reached there first and would have given Eiko and Yayoi more time despair, which would have allowed the police to focus on saving the other students and possibly Keitaro, while Eiko and Yayoi worked on taking down the dangerous spirit. Reaching the apartment, Yayoi climbed up the walls, busting in and saving Keitaro just in time, and stuffs sacred gold flake Sake and Nagayama, making him instantly cough out the spirit. But something is off and he's still angry. Yayoi realizes that this man was already evil before the spirit possessed him, and she quickly ties up the bad man while saving the rest of the students before they die. And they manage to escape before the police show up, while Yayoi captures yet another spirit for her ghost army. On the way back, Keitaro gets bummed out on how he's failed to make friends once again and will never go back to a normal life. Yayoi tells him that he's better off learning how to deal with situations involving ghosts since he'll always run into them, and he must learn how to protect the ones he loves and not be a wuss. Ooh. Shots fired.
Really?
She offers to train him, and then he has a realization and asks them how they knew where he was. But fortunately, Yayoi covers Eiko's stalker butt by saying they found him with their womanly intuition. A few days later, they go on a camping trip to relax after all the ghosty missions. Yayoi asks Keitaro if he's made up his mind about joining her official ghost hunting squad, but he's unsure if he wants to relive his old life dealing with ghosts just to stop his curse. But Eiko later convinces him to join. As a nerdy researcher, she reveals that she's been tracking down everything that has happened to them so far, and she believes everything happens for a reason, and this is why she continues to deal with ghosts despite what happened to them. She suggests that they should work together from now on and to not split apart. And just then, Eiko sees someone fall off a bridge in the distance, but Keitaro doesn't sense anything and thinks, well, she's just probably tired. They then head to bed. However, later, Keitaro wakes up to the sound of Eiko sleepwalking towards the bridge where the spirit was spotted. Hearing the ghost call out to her, Yayoi realizes that this is a special kind of spirit that uses mind control to make people jump off of bridges. Not technically possessing Eiko, they can't stop this spirit until they find out its actual location. And having a crazy plan, Yayoi says they must guide Eiko to the bridge so they can find the spirit controlling her and stop it. Otherwise, Eiko will never be free. So they get ready accordingly. Okay, so we're in a situation where the group of supposed veteran ghost hunters sure as shit act like amateurs yet again. Great. Even if we wanted a break from ghost hunting life, it's insane that they didn't better prepare for problems to come up during their camping trip, since at least 2 out of the 3 people here attract ghosts daily. Japan is almost 70% covered in forest, and this means aside from the obvious forest-prone environment, it means maybe bringing things like binoculars or infrared night vision cameras. That would have been one real great way to not be at a disadvantage when traveling through an area without any help. That's why them coming out here.
Yeah, no kidding. And the infrared would have helped a lot more since, ghosts are able to, be shown in the infrared if you're careful. Yikes. All I can say is, again, I'm not sure if I want to hang out with these people, because frankly, even if I did have a curse, I think I just would have been like, look, I just want my curse to be over with. Once that's done, I'm out of here. Got it? No more ghosts for the rest of my life after that. Got it? That's it. Like I said, that's what I would have done. Anyway, moving on.
Here as they did was just stupid. It'd be like if you go camping into an area known for having bears. At the very least, a sane person would bring some bear repellent. And also, Yayoi knew exactly what was wrong with Eiko and revealed that ghosts can also mind control their victims from another area, making them much more of a threat. Yayoi could have prepared this in advance, as this type of threat is much more deadly. And on top of them thinking in the short term, like come on. At this point by now, you gotta equip yourself with some body cams on your person so you can begin recording everything that's happening. This way the footage could have been played back after each ghost hunt. Then you could replay the events and figured out what went wrong, what went right, and what you could have improved on. Duh. This would have been a huge benefit to Yayoi and would have made her a better ghost hunter at a much more exponential rate. Look at that. Aren't I smart? Jeez, these guys are stupid. Heading to the bridge, Yayoi hides while Keitaro guides Eiko across it, acting as bait. Sensing the location of one spirit, he radios Yayoi about it. Using one of her dolls, she attacks it, forcing it into a last-minute move, try to find a body to possess, and aim straight for Keitaro, allowing them to catch it with a nail-protected doll. And they put it in a spirit-proof bag full of salt. But that's when Eiko heads straight for the bridge to jump off, right as one of Yayoi's dolls gets taken and thrown onto the floor. And just then, other spirits appear out of nowhere to rip apart the doll and free the trapped spirit inside, letting Yayoi know the exact amount of spirits in the area. Meanwhile, Keitaro reaching for Eiko falls off the bridge with her, but they get saved by their rope harness. Having planned for all possibilities, they continue to make a run for it, while Yayoi on the bridge sprays salt onto the dolls, trapping 2 other spirits in the crossfire. Down below, Keitaro rushes off off with Eiko, but comes across more spirits in the distance and realizes they're being followed. And that's when Eiko starts freaking out as Keitaro trips and falls into the water. And that's when spirits hiding in the water appear and hold him down. Eiko, now possessed, pours this spirit into his mouth, about to get possessed. Keitaro quickly thinks fast and drinks some sacred sake, forcing the spirit inside of him to exit his body, while he whips out another doll for it to go into, and he traps it inside of his bag full of salt. Finally arriving, Yayoi comes in and quickly saves the day, trapping the remaining angry spirits with some crazy moves as she gets them to rat on which one is possessing Eiko here, capturing that one and finally freeing Eiko from possession. The next morning, Eiko wakes up with no memory of what had happened and thanks Keitaro for saving him. Then they both admit their love for each other and he promises he'll always save her. Oh, how cute, and will end the curse and will help start their lives soon with a clean slate. And has no idea that Eiko's evil plans of using the curse to make them be together is secretly working. Yeah, she's actually low-key a very high-key psycho baddie. Great. Later, Yayoi informs Keitaro that seeing groups of spirits together almost never happens. Due to their nature, spirits almost always consume each other to gain more energy and to stay in the living world longer. Very much so like complex building. See, great video, go check it out. And mentions that they only group together occasionally if they don't know they are dead, are tied to a certain location, or are grouping together from a bigger threat in the area. Yayoi wants Keitaro to know that it is possible that the spirit who took her mother is closer than they think, known as the Spectre of Death. This ghost has insane power levels, one that they must prepare for. And she thanks Keitaro for helping her find more spirits in 1 week than she has in months, and this has allowed her to build her spirit army faster than she thought possible. She then crafts him a spirit conduit, which is basically an enchanted necklace that will use his powers to help guide them to more spirits, allowing them to build their spirit army even faster. Finishing up the day, he heads back home, but gets a call from his school saying that they have a new student for him to tutor, one that will change everything. The next day, he meets up with a new person, but notices her strange eyes. He thinks they're contacts and sees this clumsy girl with the worst luck named Ai Kamio. A waitress suddenly spills a drink on her, but Keitaro notices a pair of footprints on the floor next to her. Ai knows what he's looking at and realizes that he can see ghosts too. She begs him to help her, saying she's never been possessed, but ghosts have always been around her for years, and bad things happen to the people around her as a result, including the recent death of her brother. She thinks his ghost is the one protecting her right now from the other spirits 24/7, and because of this, he can't rest in peace. She asks Keitaro to help her fix this problem so her brother can finally go to heaven, and he decides to take her to Yayoi. There, Ai thinks she's just a little girl, but Yayoi can sense that Ai is being followed by two spirits, one more evil than she's ever seen before. She quickly sets up a half-assed ritual, great, and traps the evil spirit following Ai. Solving her problems, she takes a strand of her from her to put into a protection doll of hers, but notices that Ai's eyes have now changed. That night, Keitaro has a dream of one spirit who tells him that Ai's brother is the real threat, and he must go save her now. Suddenly, he gets woken up by Yayoi on the phone. She warns him that Ai's doll is currently taking damage, meaning someone is trying to harm Ai right now. They both rush over to her house. Yayoi finds the apartment number from Keitaro and climbs up the building. Busting in, she sees Ai's horrifying brother choking her, but for some reason, he is forced to stop as the clock strikes midnight and is now unable to harm her. He tells them that he was trying to save her from a fate worse than death, and he finally ascends into heaven. A little later, Ai cries about her bro like a big baby and wonders why he tried to kill her, but Keitaro notices that he didn't sense anything evil about her brother, which means he must have done it for a good reason. She tells them it makes no sense since she's only got 4 years left to live anyways. Yayoi and Keitaro look at her, and that's when she reveals a horrifying fate, revealing that a few years ago, a god fell in love with her and decided to take her away when she turns 20. Keitaro notices the same spirit he talked to earlier in his dreams in this family picture of Ai and her brother. He tells Yayoi, who doesn't see it. She then refocuses her powers, causing her to see the spirit in the picture too. She thinks Keitaro saw it first because of his family ties to his shrine, and just then she notices Ai's pupils turn back into star shapes and suspect that the spirit they caught from Ai earlier has just escaped from her room. Keitaro mentions he thought her eyes were contacts this whole time, but Yayoi finally realizes that they're a brand, and this girl has been marked for sacrifice. A normal ghost wouldn't be able to do this, which means this spirit that claimed Ai must have the powers of a god. And just then they see more spirits enter the room around Ai. Yayoi suspects that this god's energy must be leaking through her, and this is what is attracting the spirits. She assures Ai that the spirits in the room now aren't strong enough to harm her, but more will come if they don't get out of this ghost nest immediately. She calls Eiko to come to drive them back. Busting in seconds, she introduces herself to Ai, and Keitaro wonders how can she knew where they were, but Yayoi covers her bum with more sweet lies. About to head out, Keitaro quickly tries to hit the bathroom, but runs into this unknown ghost, and he starts fiddling with his brainstem, and Keitaro stares in shock and realizes thanks to Yayoi's protective doll, he's still alive, safe from harm. No spirit can hurt him for now. Keitaro rushes back. Not wanting to freak Eiko and Ai out, he calmly tells everyone that they should leave. Heading out, Yayoi quietly tells him that she saw the ghost that he saw, and they realize that Ai has one doll protecting her right now. But if more show up and try to attack her, this doll will not be enough. Rushing out, they run into a blocked staircase, forcing them to take the lift. Seeing Keitaro's ghost show up at the door, it follows them floor by floor down. Reaching the bottom, they run out, but spirit hands shoot out at Ai, getting deflected by some mysterious force, and it grabs Keitaro's leg instead, violently pulling him back. Yayoi thinks fast and slides into the lift with him, and the two other girls watch them get swallowed whole. Now stuck inside, these two then get sent down to an unknown basement, not registered to any floor. The door opens up to the spirit from earlier, eating unknown brain stems right in front of them. Yayoi suspects this is too much effort just to kill them, and the ghost likely wants something from them, and that's when other ghosts appear from behind them, and the ghost outside rips on these brain stems, making these kid ghosts scream in sheer agony, forcing them to try and push Keitaro out. Yayoi realizes that the ghost kids died in the same way they're about to, and this evil spirit isn't letting them rest in the afterlife. Okay, Keitaro and this group could have escaped if they were all just aware of two very important factors. One that has to do with social, psychological phenomenons and survival mechanisms. Let me explain. We know right now that the ghost wasn't able to interact with Keitaro's body fully. It means that they still had time to get out of here. And this means there was no reason to calmly tell them to get out, because in reality, if I was him, I would have run back and yelled to have them get out now, because we're all about to die. This would have forced them to act more quickly, because why in the world were they trying to be calm about it? The doll is protecting him. They could have moved a little bit faster. They didn't need to be all sneaky. And also, escaping the area and taking the lift was the worst idea. Taking the stairs is an obvious choice, even if there was construction, but here's the thing. They didn't even bother to peek and look and see how much construction was ahead, if there was enough for them to go around. Unbelievable. They did something that is based on psychological survival mechanism known as catastrophizing, which is a tendency to always assume the worst will happen. Basically, by predicting for the worst, we can better prepare for the future. But this only works if someone is able to correctly predict what will happen in the future. And without this mindset of thinking has been linked to anxiety in people who like to feel in control, as they're more often to think this way. Yayoi in this case is exactly this type of person. It means that her second in command, Keitaro, should have known better and forced his team to at least check out the staircase route before retreating to the lift. My gosh, they're stupid. About to get pushed out, Yayoi quickly takes a plushy spirit to hand to Keitaro, protecting him momentarily while she heads out to attack the evil spirit solo. Darting around at lightning speed, she distracts this spirit and drops a rope on its leg. Keitaro finally gets what's going on and tugs on the rope hard, trapping him to the floor. Yayoi then tells this evil ghost that says it tried to attack them, but attacked one of her dolls. The spirit inside the doll is now super pissed. The trapped spirit inside of the doll begins violently attacking this brainstem ghost into the lift, and it quickly gets eaten, weakening its powers, allowing Yayoi and Keitaro to escape from this dimension. Heading back to the ground floor, Yayoi then decides to use this brainstem ghost to help Ai with her ghost problem, creating some sort of a messed up ghost scarecrow to scare away other spirits, while the ghost children get their revenge on it for eternity. How poetic. Yayoi notes that she still needs to do some voodoo stuff before Ai's house is truly safe, so they head back to her house, and they open her door to see her shrine full of spirits violently destroyed. Everyone's eyes goes wide, and Yayoi knows Ai's spirit god did this, and it's more powerful than they thought. Suddenly, Ai passes out behind them, and her spirit shows up and smiles. It tells them it's not even at full strength yet, but none of Yayoi's spirits could defeat it. Yayoi smiles and says that all the spirits here are just preschoolers, and her graduate spirits are somewhere else, and she doesn't even need them to kick its ass. The god dares them to try, and warns Yayoi that it will soon capture her and kill her in the most violent way possible, once it reaches full strength, of course. And that's when the group notices all the dolls in her room begin to violently vibrate, making Yayoi realize that even her evil spirits are aching to kill this god badly. And she thinks if they all team up, her ragtag group of misfits will be able to defeat him and save the world. But what did you think about the video? What would you...
And guess that's the end of it. Guessing there's a part 2 to Dark Gathering, huh? Honestly, that was a abrupt end. I don't know what's going on here. Yikes. There's a lot going on, too. Anywho, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you guys think of Dark Gathering. Yeesh. Honestly, I just would have left as soon as, like, ghosts were mentioned. Like, after that first ghost hunt, I would be like, oh, you want to go again? Fuck that. I'm out. Like, I wouldn't stick around. No way. Well, anyway, thanks for watching, guys. See ya.